Welcome to Life Notes. I'm your host, Paulette Payne. We bring you a very special edition of Life Notes today. We'll talk exclusively about the CCRTD, or the Center for Cancer Research and Therapeutic Development, who sponsors Life Notes. We are joined today by Dr. Shafiq Khan, who is the director of the program, Dr. Carlton Brown, who's president of Clark Atlanta University, and Mr. Tommy Dortch, who is a Board of Trustees member. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today.
Good to be here.
So we're talking about the Center for Cancer Research and Therapeutic Development, and of course, prostate cancer, and what this organization means to the local community and the international cancer communities. Dr. Khan, can you talk to us a little bit about the CCRTD and what it means for CAU?
Yeah, before I start that, let me thank my guests here, and Dr. Carlton Brown especially. For the last 6-7 years, he has been the greatest supporter of the CCRTD, and really without your support, we wouldn't have succeeded the way we did. And I know you're leaving us soon, but we will never forget that, your support. And also, Mr. Dortch, I'm really grateful for you to come on this show. Now, the center was, started long before I came, but in 2004, we decided that we will entirely focus on the problem of prostate cancer, and especially in the African American community. So we've been building this center for the last 10 years, strictly focused on that. And we have basic research, we have training for our students and postdocs and junior faculty, and we have a very active community outreach program. Of course, this is part of that.
And so why is it important for this department, this center, to be housed at Clark Atlanta University, a historically black college?
Well, if you look at the prostate cancer and its incidence and mortality, African Americans have the highest rate of both incidence and mortality because of this disease in the world. And it's logical for an HBCU, and especially, and the other fact is that prostate cancer kills more people in the south of United States, urban regions, than anywhere else in the world. So it's logical for us to be where we are.
And just to piggyback off of that, Dr. Khan, it's important certainly because of the demographic that prostate cancer impacts, and it's also important because your students are being trained to be experts in the industry. How are you preparing your students to do that?
Well, we train students from very beginning, from the undergraduate level, and then of course we have master's program, we have a PhD program. So, for example, in the last 3 years, we have graduated 10 PhDs, and we have trained at least 70 undergraduate students in the last 5 to 6 years who have gone through our lab. So, even if they don't become a scientist, at least they have an exposure to research. But the PhD students what we train, they go on and they stay in research.
And so not only are you grooming professionals, you're also extending that knowledge base out into the community. As we heard, Life Notes is a benefactor from the support of the CCRTD. What are some other community outreach programs the center does?
Well, we do this program on the TV, and we have a program on WCLK 91.9, which is also focused on cancer and its impact in the community. And we do that every month. We host health fairs where we provide free screening for not just for prostate cancer, but for other. Actually, Mr. Dortch has been financially supporting us in that. We also go to churches, to libraries, to anywhere where actually we can communicate with the community about early detection. I think that what's important about this disease is that if you catch it early, the cure rate is almost 100%.
So detection screenings are critical.
Yes, so that is what we try to go and have a conversation with the men and families in the community.
Dr. Brown, I'm sure as president of Clark Atlanta University, it brings you much joy and pride to know that this critical resource is housed here. Why do you think it's so important that Clark Atlanta have a voice in the conversation?
Well, as you know, Clark Atlanta University is an independent institution grown in this community, servicing the entire African American community, and has long seen itself as a focal point for the research and the scholarship that is critical to that community worldwide. And so it only makes sense that such a center be located here. And in fact, the growth factors that Dr. Khan has so beautifully engineered over the last several years have been a direct consequence of the decision to focus on prostate cancer. It has fueled the cohesiveness of our research. It has drawn, with his charisma and his research, has drawn other researchers to this space from all of the best places. So we've got postdocs and faculty that have come out of Berkeley, University of California, Harvard, and all the places where the big research is done, and now we're developing that big research. I should also say that it's also critically important because the nature of our outreach here enables us to expand enormously. So the Retired NFL Players Association is a part of our team, and of course many of them are right here, and so there's a ready audience for that. That then led to the involvement of our football team in the outreach, and so every year we're graduating young men for whom this is not a foreign set of things, who understand exactly what it's all about and who will continue to carry that word and live that word inside their lives. So it's important for us for all of those reasons, but also because the Center for Cancer Research and Therapeutic Development is the lead research organization at the university. So in addition to building this center up to its current status, and soon will be easily known as the biggest in the world, the biggest and the best in the world on this disease, it has also helped us design the model by which we are building our other centers, such as our Nanoscale Materials Center and our Innovation Lab and several other entities.
So the CCRTD serves as a benchmark, if you will.
A benchmark and a pathway.
That's pretty impressive, Dr. Khan.
And that was what we talked about from the very beginning. When I looked at what we were trying to do and what he had already begun, I said, you know, we've got to understand that at every step of the way, you're my experiment. So he is my laboratory. So his laboratory is my laboratory, and that's how we have built this, and it's created a great path for the others to follow.
Again, impressive, and it's an honor to know that Life Notes can be a part of the CCRTD's outreach and community service. Now, we were talking earlier about the great debate about cancer screenings. Why, and I'll pose this to you, Mr. Deutsch, why do you think that great debate exists, and what can we do to eradicate that?
Well, I can tell you, first of all, I'm here and healthy after 8 years as an 8-year survivor from prostate cancer because of screening. 20 years ago, when I was the national chair of 100 Black Men of America, I had just come into office, and there was this major debate. This was in 1995, and the debate was whether or not we should do the screenings, and it was all over the place. And so the 100 Black Men of America, under my leadership, we convened in Houston, Texas, a group of about 120 African-American doctors. We had the National Institute of Health, we had the Department of Defense, we had the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to join us, along with many of our doctors in the organization, to really have the great debate on prostate cancer, to talk about it. But more importantly, we created what was the Prostate Cancer Coalition. That was 20 years ago, 1995. And for most of the African-American doctors, though, they were all on point with screening. And even back then, it was from age 45 on, you should be screened for prostate cancer. I started at age 45. Thank God, on this past Sunday, I celebrated my 65th birthday, April 12th. But I started at age 45, and every year I got my complete exam. We started doing prostate screenings around the country through the 100 Black Men. In Omaha, Nebraska, for example, we did a screening. 77 African-American men came, 35 had prostate cancer. It was mind-blowing. And even here in Atlanta, the 100 decided at Morehouse School of Medicine, we would do a prostate cancer screening at one of our membership meetings, and all of the presidents and past presidents agreed, and officers, that we would all go first. I had one member who's a medical doctor. Sometimes medical doctors are the biggest culprits of not looking after their health. And he was complaining, but he went through. He discovered he had prostate cancer. We had 3 members that discovered they had prostate cancer that night. I discovered